All right, all right, all right. Welcome to the Big Sky Investor Show. I am your host, Luke Anderson, and I'm so excited that you have decided to join me today. So if you've watched any of the, or I guess listened or watched, because this is going to be on YouTube as well. But if you have joined in on this show before, thank you. And thank you for your patience. You'll know that this is a little bit of a newer show, and I've never done anything like this before. So this is an experiment for me, and I'm learning as I go. So, oh goodness, excuse me, pardon me. Anyway, so I am learning, and I appreciate your patience with me. So, anyway, today I wanted to talk a little bit about an event. Event doesn't really seem to fit. We'll call it a reunion. It's more of like a family reunion, a very focused, business-minded family reunion. How about that? That I was just at. So I belong to this organization called the Kingdom Real Estate. And it is a community of real estate investors and business owners, but primarily people in the real estate space. And they hold these events. They call them the Kingdom Connects. Kingdom Connect. And this was like, I don't know, their fifth one or something like that. Third one that they've done on a pretty big scale. And I've gone to a few of these, and I have come out of each one of them very enlightened, very inspired, and also very with a new level of clarity is probably the best way to put it. And these events are it's a real estate organization, right? But really the things that we talk about or that are talked about really can be applied to business and can be applied to a lot of areas of life. And this last one was in Dallas, Texas. Was that statement I just made was the most true of this last event. So as I've mentioned, I think before on the podcast, that I am a real estate investor. However, I do have other businesses. So real estate investing is a business, right? Like I hesitate even saying I'm a real estate investor and like putting a title on it, because really real estate is just a tool. I'm in the real estate business. I'm in the marketing business. I'm in the trucking business, right? I have companies in those industries, right? Those are just tools or industries. So anyway, a lot of business concepts, and I came out of that, out of this last weekend in Dallas with a lot of clarity on what I have been trying to accomplish in all of my businesses, real estate included. And that is on how to put together systems in a way that makes sense for where my businesses are each individually at. And being able to expand upon it and really optimize the business and really re-identify the problems that each business is uniquely qualified to solve in the respective industries, and how to optimize that and duplicate it over and over and over and over again so that we can solve more and more problems more quickly. So I hope that makes sense. I'll try and say that in a different way in a minute here. But anyway, I just had a lot of clarity on what I needed to be doing in my businesses, with my businesses. And it was an amazing weekend. So they had like 15 presenters, all of which are in the real estate sphere, are all have some invest in real estate in various ways. There were people talking about notes and investing in notes, which was super interesting. One of the primary guy talking on that, his name is Troy Fullwood, and he's really a pioneer in the notes space. Super, super fascinating. I've heard him before and met him before. And I just about to start his book. I deliberately did not read it right after Arizona because notes was something so different than what I was focusing on back in November that I was like, this is just like too much like for me right now. But he's got a book on note investing. So for those of you who don't know, notes is the debt. So basically he invests in the debt of real estate. It's the money owed, right? So he buys and sells and trades notes, and he also creates notes. So he'll buy a property and then sell it on terms, effectively creating a note and then hold it, or sell it or trade it or whatever. So, and he also wholesales notes. So anyway, so his book, it's called The Power of Paper. I've heard some amazing things on it. I'm in a place now where I can process that information, especially after hearing him speak for a second time and getting to meet him again and go over some things. So I'm very excited to dive into that book and get some more information on that. So we had things on notes. He also does a lot of things with funds, hedge funds and real estate funds and things like that. Dr. Matt Motiel, he talked a lot about funds and like that's what he's working on and like leveling up his business into into different types of hedge funds. There were some guys talking about a lot wholesaling, a lot of wholesalers, but people who had let me try that again. I can't say the word. Put in systems to automate. That's what I was trying to say. They have automated the wholesaling business. They've put teams and systems in place that deals come in, and they get sold. They're getting under contract. They're getting sold. So they're selling their interest in the contract, but the people who started it, the presenters, aren't having to necessarily do that part. They can build the business side. So that was pretty cool to hear from a lot of those people. And then what they're doing now that they've got the wholesaling business automated, and now are like buying and holding and playing around with notes and like they're fixing, very common theme was I did a couple of fix and flips and learned my lesson and now I don't do them anymore. So that was a very common theme. There were not a lot of fix and flippers there. And I'll say in the kingdom in general, there's not, because that you really have to have a very solid business model in order to do that at scale. Because there's a lot of variables in fixing and flipping. Anyway, so we had some wholesalers there. There were some buy and hold guys. Some guys that are like in massive growth mode. Some guys are in the mode of trying to make things as passive as possible. A couple of guys that had one in particular that had made his portfolio he mentioned that he had like perfected his portfolio and like literally made it like basically 100% passive. Hundreds of units that are all in a specific condition in specific neighborhoods with specific updates and specific tenants that he has perfected over the course of the last almost 2 decades. And now he's like, I literally can sleep for days on end, weeks on end, months on end, and it doesn't make a single difference in my business because everything is automated and that check comes in every single month like clockwork, and has for years. So that was pretty cool to hear about how he like literally like perfected. That was William Bonnell, and he said he had like 208 units that he just was like, yeah, they literally are like completely passive. Like he said he almost never has to, I don't even know how frequent, but he said it's very, very infrequent he ever has to have a conversation even with his property management company, just because they built that relationship and those systems and processes in time that it all just and his team just handles it all. So that was pretty cool. What else? Notes, buy and hold, a little bit of fix and flip, quite a bit of wholesale. What else? There was just a lot of talk about systems and scaling and processes, and that can be applied to any business. And it's interesting because coming off that, it's only been a few days since the event, and I've already identified what changes need to be made in each of my businesses and how those businesses need to be scaled. And had a meeting with a partner in one of the businesses, and we agreed that it's been what we've been missing, and some different elements, and we have already started implementing within just a day of talking about it, implementing the new system. We've got pretty much everything hammered out for the new business model and what we need to be doing to provide a more complete solution to our clients. And that was a big point of clarity, is making sure that we're identifying what our main solution is, like what's the main problem we solve, and what's the solution that we use to solve that problem, and making sure that that is a complete solution and that we are striving to do that better than anybody else, and being very clear and concise on that. And that is what we needed to identify in each of the businesses, because it had kind of gotten lost in the startup process and getting some clients here and there. And now we're able to refine the businesses and the clients we take on and the people we help and the problems we solve, down to like, okay, this is our specialty. This is the problem or problems we solve in this business. And in this business, this is what we do. And in this business, this is what we do. So very excited for that. And because of that clarity, it allows us to dive into how to build the teams, and which is gonna allow us to work more on the business versus in it. We're both identifying what where our strong suits are. And like, I'll give you an example. So I know it's supposed to be an investing podcast, but like I've told you before, this business and investing is related. Investing is just a different business. It's a type of business, right? So that's why I talk a lot about businesses in general. But as an example, the last meeting I just had, it's on our marketing company. And we identified that when we started this, my partner and I, we had some very specific problems that we felt that needed to be solved. And we had some solutions that could solve those problems for businesses in our community. And when you're starting a new business, if you've ever started a new business, whether it's real estate or not, you have those good intentions of what you're going to do, and you hold on to those. And then the reality sets in that you need money to buy things like food and gas and housing and, diapers if you have kids, and formula and all that, right? So that sets in, and then you start settling for, or maybe not, settling is not the right word, but you're more willing to take, better way to put it is better. You're more willing to take on clients that don't necessarily fit in your original criteria, right? So like, we love all of our clients, and our clients are awesome, and we do truly believe we can provide value to all of our clients. However, we did realize that we were starting to consider clients that really didn't fit what we wanted to do long term. So, and we also identified the clients that we want to help long term. We weren't at this current time providing a complete solution. We were farming out the rest of it to someone else. So we're developing what that complete solution is and bringing on the appropriate team members for that. In the real estate business, it's really identifying what, since that's not my primary gig right now, but it is the primary business long term, because of all of the three primary businesses I have, the marketing, the trucking company, and the trucking prorate company, and the real estate. Real estate's the one that I know will be around when I am long gone. That business will outlive me. It will outlive my kids. It will outlive my grandkids. If we do it right. Now, the trucking prorate company, will that one be around to, into my kids' generation? Probably. But will it be in my grandkids' generations? Maybe. Will it be there? Will it still be a thing, 3 generations from now? Probably not. I mean, maybe. It very well could be. But I can't say that with full certainty because of the very specific nature of the business. Social and digital media marketing solutions, are those going to be around multiple generations? Maybe. But is it going to last as long as real estate? I don't think so. Because do I think do I think social media and digital media and the internet's a fad? No. They are here for a very long time, right? There's no sign of any of that going away. But those things do not have as long a track record as real estate. Right? So in the long run, that will provide for my family's mission better, more consistently, more confidently, the real estate will, than the other businesses. So anyway, but if I can still gain knowledge and enlightenment and clarity to build my other businesses up so that then I can focus more on the real estate, awesome, because then now I've gotten us taken care of for now. We're solid now. Now let's prepare for the future. Anyway, kind of getting off what I originally wanted to talk about. So the Kingdom Connect in Dallas was like I said, was an awesome experience. There were so many connections made. And like I said, I'd been to some of these before where it was like 30 people and 40 people. And this one was like 100 people. And there were people that were in the community and people that weren't. And there was a lot that weren't. And, it was awesome to have those other people and get to know them and meet them and connect, because that's really the power of this event and events like that. Well, I don't know if there's really events like this. Like, it's pretty darn unique. So they rented out a mansion. There's 100 of us in this mansion for like 4 days. Like, some of us stayed in Airbnbs and some stayed at a hotel. But we met and did life together and watched presenters and things like that. Ate food together, drank beer together, like whatever, all in this mansion. And that is a very unique space, because then you don't have that pressure of like in a hotel, that stuffiness. Like, we could walk outside and walk around the yard, walk around the neighborhood. If the pool had been done, we could have sat at the pool. So like in Arizona, there was a pool that was finished in a hot tub, and they had like some yard games like horseshoes and cornhole and stuff like that. So like there was a lot of socializing in very comfortable like backyard barbecue style environments. This event was supposed to be the same. Long story short, basically the short-term rental host massively dropped the ball and did not inform the people running the Kingdom Connect event that that the house was unfinished, and they did not know about it until the day before the event. Like they showed up the afternoon before to set up, and the house wasn't complete. The yard wasn't complete. The pool wasn't complete. The porch or patio area wasn't complete. So that was interesting, but and there was a whole host of issues with it. Like doors to the bathrooms weren't complete, like they weren't locking, or they'd get stuck in the open position because there were sliding doors. The plumbing ended up going out, which was crazy. But it was like a pipe, like somebody had, like, I'm guessing during some of the renovation, they accidentally like crushed a pipe or something, because it was not anything that had happened at the event. Like when they went to snake it, they were like, there is like chunks of metal in the pipeline, and it's blocking the water and the sewage and stuff. So anyway, so that was interesting. But the reason I bring that up is because despite all then there was other dramas, but we didn't know about it until a lot of this until afterwards, right? And even the stuff that was obvious, like the plumbing going out and the pool not being done, and some of the features in the house not being done, things like that. And there was a lot of people that had never been to an event like that, and this was their first impression. Now, this was my third event with the Kingdom Connect, so I knew the caliber of event that these guys hold, and so I was like, oh, this is not on them. This is like just all this other random stuff happening. But it was interesting to watch because it did not change the dynamic of the group. Networking was still being done. Relationships were being created. Businesses were being created. Partnerships, deals were being done. Money was being raised. I think the final numbers haven't come out, but like just in conversations I've had and things like that, and then hearing other people, they're trying to do like a poll and see what all, but it's something like, what was it? Like over $2 million in private money was raised at this event. And I know it was way higher than that. Just from conversations I had personally. There was like 80 offers made on properties. I think like 20 properties were put under contract from action that was taken out of the weekend. There was like 8 new companies or partnerships and entities that were formed. Gosh, there was so much. So many good connections. Like one of the best connections I made was a guy out of Georgia, and I'd never met him before in my life. And him and I just really connected. We ended up having a lot of time together, and really were able to connect and really like identify with where we were each at in our businesses, and really help each other process like what the next steps were. So that was cool. A lot of clarity out of that weekend, man. And the reason I bring this up is, one, it's a plug for those guys because they did such a phenomenal job. And like I said, even though that there was issues, and if you're on the podcast, I'm like doing the quote fingers or whatever. It didn't take away from why we were all there. There were speakers there that had never been on stage, had never presented, whether on stage or not, like had never presented. There were people that had never shared their story before. There were never people that had talked to more than like 5 people at a time. And it showed for some of them, but they still made it through, and it was cool to watch that process. And they still provided value to the people in the room, and there were people taking notes like crazy. Even though there's guys and gals standing up there like, this is terrifying. I have no idea what I'm doing in speaking because I've never done this before. And please just ask me questions so I don't have to like come up with stuff to say, or they would just start rambling about random things. But like the stuff they ended up rambling about was great. And then you had other people that were very polished and had been speaking a ton. And it was cool to have that dynamic of both those. And then after they got done speaking, they'd come and like sit down right next to you. You know, they were like, it was crazy because some of the people, guys and gals, I didn't know who they were. And like I sat next to some of them. I had shared a meal with them for a couple of days, and then they ended up speaking like on the last day, and it's like, oh, I had no idea you were one of the presenters. Like, that's awesome. And it's just cool to meet these people. And they're like, yeah, so, I'm doing like 7 figures or 8 figures in my business a year. It's like, oh crap. Like, I had no idea. That's awesome. So such a cool time. And I bring that up, like I said, for a plug for them, for the Kingdom, because they have just changed and revolutionized my mindset, my business, my personal life, finances, everything. And also because finding people like that is crucial to your business, regardless of industry, and to being in real estate. Real estate is a relationship business. 110%. Yeah, there's buildings and houses and appraisals and contracts and this, that, and the other thing. But those are all just random details, right? Those are pieces to the formula, but you can understand all of everything there is to do with real estate and not do anything in real estate. There were some guys and gals at this event, and that I know and I've met with before, that have done literally nothing. There were a few people that had literally done nothing deal wise, I should say, in real estate. But they're like an encyclopedia when it comes to, like, they can tell you, you can throw almost anything at them and they can tell you. So they have the knowledge. And coming out of the weekend, they had, a lot of them had there weren't a whole lot of people that hadn't done a deal or anything. There were only a few actually, but the people that I'm specifically talking about that have that level of knowledge but hadn't done deals, man, you should have seen them come out of that weekend and like offers made and like deals in the pipeline and like huge progress. So super cool. Because the people like the group I was with, they elevate you in your life, and they elevate you in your business, and they elevate you in investing. And it's hugely important to have that in your life. Because for a lot of us, it's not in our direct family. It's not in our close friends. They don't understand, unfortunately, but they don't get what our dreams are. And it's important to be around like-minded individuals. So that's why I bring that up. Plug for the Kingdom, but also to just drop the message of you need to find fellow or like-minded people, and you need to invest in those people, and you need to invest into events like this that put you in rooms with people. There are people from literally all over the world. I think the furthest person, there were 2 people from Australia, and that was literally like geographically the furthest away. I mean, that's about as far away as you can get from America, I think, geographically. Anyway, like, that's pretty impressive. So there were people literally from all over the country and all over the world, which was super cool. Got to connect with a lot of awesome people. And I was surrounded at one point. I remember I was sitting there, I was in the back of the room. So as I've mentioned, like, I have massive headaches every day, and from a bad head injury, that's why I wear these funky glasses when I'm on the computer. If you're on the video, you'll see I'm wearing these yellow tinted lenses. Anyway, but at one point I was sitting within arms, like I could touch, like in any direction I could touch. I think there was 12, 13, 14 people that were presenters or just in attendance there that had a minimum 7-figure portfolio, that had businesses that did a minimum of 7 figures a year. And they were all the people, like, and I just looked around, I'm like, oh man, like, I'm like by far the lowest man on the totem pole in like this immediate circle. Like, by a lot. I was like, oh my gosh, like, oh, that guy, he does he 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 wholesales close to 7 figures a year and in personal net income, and that's his living money, and that's not even his primary business. That's like his side thing. And he's like, yeah, and I've also got this many rentals and this many notes. And another guy is like, yeah, between wholesaling and flipping, I do this much, and then I've got this other business. Or one guy who was like, I've got 2 or 3 businesses, and they do this, and together they do, several 7 figures. I mean, it's just crazy. Those are the type of people I want to be in the room with, right? That's why we invest in ourselves, and go to events like this. So those were the people I got to network with. Those were people that were like, hey, Luke, we're on your side. We loved that we met you. We've met you at other events, whatever the case was. And here's my number. Here's how you get in touch with me. Let me know how I can help you and how I can get you to the next level. Every single one of them said that. That's why you go into rooms like that. That's why you go to events like that. It's crucial, because if you stay in your community and just hang out with the people that you're hanging out with and just consult, seek counsel from the people that are in your sphere, you will never grow. Or if you grow, you will not grow and have a stable business or real estate investments. So that's why I bring that up. Anyway, I better get off now. I've ranted long enough. But the Kingdom Connect in Dallas was amazing. I'm so glad I went. I'm going to the next one, which is going to be in Charlotte in May. So if you're listening to this and you want to learn more, go to get the thing pulled up here. I believe should have had this ready. My apologies. But you can look up the Kingdom Real Estate or the Kingdom Connect Charlotte on Facebook, and the dates will be on there. And then the website, I believe, is the Kingdom. I think it's called thekingdomrealestate.com. So I'll double check it. And if you want to find out more, you can also email me, luke.jon.anderson@gmail.com, or you can reach out on social media, Luke John Anderson. Those are all the social media handles, and we'll go from there. But would love to hear from you. Love the feedback. And thanks for joining me for another show, and we'll see you next time.